Jesus Christ was a perfect, absolutely perfect example for all of us, for those who will receive it. But the problem is we have been worshiping him in idea instead of spirit. He said that we should worship him in spirit. And we've not been doing that. And we've been doing it in idea, and all of our ideas have been wrong about him. We've been in those ideas of what we've been taught and what we feel. We've been thinking that, oh, my idea about Jesus, I love him. He loved me. Thank God he died for me. But it did nothing for us because it was an idea and not in spirit. And so the one thing I realized that Jesus did that I didn't know before is that everything that any of us have to go through, he went through it, and he was a perfect example of how to deal with nasty people, angry people, mean people, backbiting people, jealous and envy and strife. And the way he dealt with that, even with the disciples tripping, the way he dealt with it, it's like what this young lady said. He gave it no thought to the devil at all. When the devil tried to tempt him, he did not even, when people tried to gossip with him, he did not give it any room at all. That's that living example of what we're going through now. He resists the devil by not participating with the devil, by not arguing with the devil, by not fighting with the devil, just let the devil have his way, because the devil had no power anyway. If he couldn't pull you into his world, he couldn't even touch you. And if you know that's what evil people try, and we live in an evil, nasty world now, they're constantly trying to pull you into their hell. Angry people do bad things to others so they can feel good. When wives are trying to take the men's children away from them, they are doing it so they can feel good. They don't care about the kids. They're looking for a feeling. And they call it love. And they're lying. And so when Jesus was living, he was that example. Exactly what you're going through now is exactly what he went through. But the one thing that Jesus knew that his mama, Mary, and all the people that were following him did not know is that in order to live, you must die. You're never going to be able to live until you die, and you're never going to be able to worship him in spirit, meaning get to know him. Worship means to know him, to appreciate him, to love life. What happened was when he went to the cross, and these preachers were jealous of him. They didn't like the fact that Jesus was waking up people, because they were teaching the Bible. They had degrees. They wore the beautiful robes, but they were using the people with their preacher stuff. They were not setting the people free. So when Jesus came along, they hated Jesus because the people were waking up, and the preachers didn't like it. And so when Jesus finally made it to the cross thing, he didn't really die. The ego died. The ego died. All the thoughts and feelings and stuff died. And then he rose and he lived. And he knew that in advance that what was going to happen. He knew inside what was going on. Like you're going to know when you when you forgive and when you let the ego die. And the way that you let the ego die, you got to stop protecting it, period. Because it's not you. It feels like you. If somebody says something to you or hurt your little feeling and you want to get mad, you should welcome that. When your wife is cursing you out, he ain't going to control me. You look at her with a smile and watch how you're feeling about it. Or when someone is mean to you, watch how you're feeling about it. And if you feel anything, be glad to see that. Be glad for that situation, because it is not happening to you. It's happening to the fake you, the not you. It's happening to the ego. And if you take it and don't complain about it, don't murmur about it, don't be mad about it, you'll die from it. You will die from it. And as you die from the not you, when that disappears, the real you will appear. And the real you is full of love, nothing but love, because God is love, all peace, all joy, and want nothing from the world. You want nothing from the world. You take no credit. You don't look for anything from anybody. You want nothing because you have everything. And you will have perfect peace. And so when Jesus rose again, it's the same thing going to happen to you when you let the ego die. And the world, because it's so nasty and wicked and evil in the families and everywhere, not just, it's giving you a chance to die, but you're protecting the devil. You're protecting it, not you. You won't let yourself die. You'll be very careful. You want people to see you in a certain way. You want people to think of you in a certain way. You want to be loved. You want all this, so you won't let yourself die. You cry when pain comes because you don't want the pain. That's not you in pain at all. It's the nature of the devil. That's why I say you got to work on this. You got to work on this by yourself. No one can help you. And it will happen if you keep your eyes on yourself. Wisdom will come, shallow mind will leave, and you would know naturally how to deal with life. It is so amazing. But you got to let it die. You got to let yourself be embarrassed because it's not you. It's the mind, which is of the devil, making you think this is you. I promise you, it's not you. It's really not. If somebody don't love you, fine. This is why relationships don't work, because each party is trying to get something from each other. And when thoughts come, don't communicate with the thoughts. You're communicating with the devil. And Jesus did that. And he is our brother. Because when we are born again of the Father, Jesus was born of the Father. In him was the Father. And in all of us is the Father. You just don't know it. Because you identify with the not father, which is the stepdaddy, which is Satan. The stepdad that should not have been there. Anybody want to comment on that? That's what Jesus did for us. And so you got to stop complaining about life. Because in reality, up here, your life is fine. Down here, it's not, because it's not your life. Emotions are not you. Thoughts are not you. Misery is not you. And when Christ died and he said it was done, it's done, it's over. It meant that we don't have to go through anything. It's done. It's finished. The ego is dead. Satan has been defeated. And if you can wake up to that right now, you can be free. All thoughts are lies. All emotions are lies. It's not real. And God is love. And he loves us. And he brings no pain. Another thing too, and the reason I know all this because I deal with so many people and everything is the same. And I know what I had to go through, right? Stop from this point forward. Never, ever, 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 ever judge yourself again. You have no reason to feel guilty. You have zero reason to feel guilty. Because there's nothing since you've been on earth that you have ever done that was right or wrong. So you have no reason to feel guilty. Stop judging yourself. That's the devil. And whatever happened through you, it was the devil. It wasn't you. It was that spirit that made a home in you. It wasn't you. You never, but the devil made you do things and then he made you feel guilty about it. And now you want to go in hiding. Because you feel so, oh, and then you start praying, oh Lord, please help me, Jesus. Praise you, Lord. Oh Lord, I worship you. And all you're doing is fellowshipping with the devil. God, like, I was at Coffee Bean the other day, and I was thinking, you know, I think I see Jesus over there, laughing at the people. It's so I wish you knew how unnecessary it is to live this miserable life. It's so unnecessary, it's so unreal. It really is. But you gotta let the ego die, and the world is waiting to control you through the ego or cause you to overcome it. Stop hiding. When Satan tell you, oh, I wonder what they're thinking about me, right? That's Satan tell you that's not you. There's no you for them to think about. There's no you. Satan lying to you. What a mess, huh? We can literally be free right here, but you got to let the ego die, and then you shall live. In order to live, you must die. Isn't that in the word somewhere? Huh? Yeah, in order to live, you must. And so that means that stop protecting the false you. The fears are not you. The worries are not you. Stop fighting with people. You're fighting with the devil. Don't fight with the devil. And the devil. So what else? Go ahead right here. Don't fight. And the devil want you to fight, so he'll try to make you fight with people, because he'll say, well, wonder what they're thinking of you. You're supposed to defend yourself. No, you don't. There's nothing to defend. There's no one to defend. It's an illusion. It's a stone illusion. The only thoughts you should have are practical thoughts. I got to go to work. I want to make this project happen. That's it. There's no thinking. That's what I'm trying to encourage you to pay attention to yourself. Keep your eyes off everybody's eyes. And you're going to, when you understand you, you're going to clearly see the world. You're going to see, people can't trick you. You're going to see what's going on. And that's your protection. Anger is not your protection. The light is your protection. That's your power. Yes, sir.
It's the most painful thing in the world is ego death.
Yes. And the only reason that it's painful, though, because we think that it's us.
Right.
If we knew for sure, as Paul said, it's not me, it's this thing that made a home in me, so I give up.
Yes.
It wouldn't be painful. It would be over. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went through it a couple years ago, and it hurts. It's painful for me. For me, it was painful. Basically, it forces you to face all your fears.
Yeah.
And there could be some fears that you stuffed way down from your past, and it comes up. And the thing is, it all comes up all at once. So I've read a little bit about it. I've heard it's called Dark Night of the Soul. I don't know if you've heard of that term before. It's basically ego death, and for me, all my fears, like everything just boiled up to the surface, and just had the worst, incredibly bad luck. Like nothing day to day, nothing went right. Everything went wrong, and it feels like you're separated from God. So that's where the darkness is. It feels like you're in darkness, like you have no one. Everybody's
You are in darkness. You're in total wickedness.
There's no one to save you either.
Yeah. Nobody can save you. Nothing or nobody. No one. No Jesse Peterson.
Nobody.
Jesse Peterson mama. I point you to the source that can save you. No human being can do it. And then no human being should be taking credit for doing it. Because if you really, really think about it, even when we breathe, we're not making ourselves breathe. It's happening on its own. When we're hungry, something makes us hungry. We're not in control of anything. Just think about that. We're not in control of anything. But in that fallen state, we want to think that we are. And people love thinking they're in control, no matter how miserable they are. And they don't want you to tell them that, what do you mean I'm not in control? I'm the boss. But anyway.